So, if you're anything like me, you love bread, and I have something big coming up, so, not having any actual decent bakeries, you know what? I was like, you know what? I'm a pretty good baker myself, so I got ahead and made my own Cuban bread. So hopefully, this helped you guys out if you guys want to go that little extra to do something big for what you're doing. So hopefully you guys have a good time and enjoy this video on making some Cuban bread, because I love me some bread and hopefully you guys do too. So let's get it going. First, we're going to go ahead and take 310 milligrams or about a cup and a fourth of warm water. You want it between 100 to 110 degrees. Then after we got that good, we're going to go ahead and take our yeast. I used about 10 grams or 1 tablespoon of yeast. Then you want to throw in some salt. For the salt, I used about a teaspoon or 2. I used 2, I think. And then I went ahead and threw a tablespoon of sugar in there. And then I took a handful of that actual flour in there just to give a little extra oomph. This is going to help the yeast grow. If you just have the packet yeast, I usually always like to do this because this helps out with making sure your yeast is alive and active. We go ahead and give that a good mix up. We're going to let that sit for about 10 to 15 minutes and let our babies grow nice and strong. Once everything is pretty much good to go, we're gonna go ahead and take our wet ingredients and mix them into the dry ingredients. You're gonna start mix this until you see a dough come together. You're gonna take your lard that you have set up. The amount of lard I used, a tablespoon of lard. You can find this in pretty much any baking aisle, Walmart, wherever. Now that our dough is pliable, we're gonna go ahead and start kneading this thing. If your dough's a little bit sticky, don't be afraid. Just throw a little bit more flour onto it, and you're gonna knead it until it's nice and non-sticky. But you don't want to add too much at one time. So here you're gonna pretty much get a nice kneading / arm workout for the next 10 minutes. Once that happens, we're gonna go and oil a bowl and let that little baby grow up nice and strong to about half the size for about an hour to an hour and a half. Little tip, if it's kind of cold in your place, go ahead and turn your oven on to about 200 degrees for about 2 minutes or so, just to get it nice and warm, and go ahead and turn that oven light on. It'll keep it at that 70 to 80 degrees. Once our baby's nice and grown, we can go ahead and give it the disrespect side of your hand, smack out all that air. Then once we do that, we're gonna, kind of put it out evenly. Then we're gonna go ahead and cut it down the center. Then we're gonna start forming our little log. I found that rolling it out with a little bit of a dough roller, not too hard, but just enough to get it flattened and even. Then we're gonna go ahead and pretty much roll this like a cinnamon roll, or a croissant, as some people like to say. Do our best to, once you rolled up, is to close the seams, kind of how French bread is, how it goes like a baguette. We're gonna go ahead and once we get all that, we want these to be about 6 to 8 inches long, and we're gonna taper the ends once we get that going. Once we got our logs nice and rolled out, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cover these bad boys up with a moist towel, just gonna keep them from drying out. We're gonna let them rest for another hour. They're gonna get pretty big, so don't be amazed at how big they get. But after we let them rest, I'll catch up back with you. Now that they're done with their final proof, we're gonna go ahead and spray these with some water and light mist. And we're gonna go ahead and score these here. I got a little lane. I didn't know, I always called people lame when I was younger. I didn't know this is what a lame is actually. But You can also use a very sharp knife if you want. Give it a nice cut down the center. This is going to allow some of that steam to escape so you don't have any breakage on the dough. Once we got it with a nice spray, we're going to have our oven at 400 degrees, and we're going to take a boiling pot of water and throw it into the oven. This is going to create a nice steam effect, and then spray some more water right before you close it. You're going to let these steam for about 8 minutes, and then you're going to let them bake for 20 until you get that nice golden brown. That steam is going to give it that nice hard crust. If you're anything like me, I love the smell of bread. I love bread so much. I can't explain how much I love bread, but pretty much just wraps up this part. Hope you guys gonna join me later on to make some good old-fashioned Cubanos. I love me some Cubanos, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of this B-roll that I made, and catch you guys back next time. Peace.